Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you very much for joining me again from the card making tutorial. We're using the classic Cloche bundle today, which you will find in the mini catalogue, the July to December mini. It comes with some coordinating dies, all really fabulous, so that we can build up some really beautiful scenes. Lots of little Christmas trees. We can cut the birds from the images too. Really fun set. You can also get some domes that will fit over the top of the images as well, if you would like that kind of thing to make some shaker cards. The stamp set itself is a photopolymer set, and we've actually not just got, it calls it 2-step, but I almost want to call it 3-step stamping, because we've actually got 3 portions that we can use to build up 2 different little images there, and then of course the other little bits and pieces in the dies can add some variation on there as well. So plenty of scope with the stamp set on what we can do with that. So this is the sample card. Okay, so this is how we've layered up some of those little pieces, and we've used Sahara Sand Pool Party to do that, and stamped in grey granite. Okay, the designer series paper isn't actually part of this particular bundle. It's part of another suite. So this is from the Peaceful Cabin bundle, and this particular paper is called Peaceful Place. It's a 12 by 12 speciality paper. So on one side we've got these really nice muted patterns, mostly on white. The colours in this are basic black, basic grey and smoky slate. So here we've got some really nice little sort of squares on there in various shades of grey. Then we've got these lovely little sort of lines which we can use in either orientation. So far all of these designs could really be used for men too. Some stylised sort of trees, some more trees there, which I think would look good behind the images in the Nature's Beauty stamp set with the deer and stuff, or the dashing deer even. Is it called dashing deer? But we've got a leaping deer in the catalogue, so whichever stamp set that is. And then we've got a piece that really does coordinate with the Peaceful Cabin stamp set, but nonetheless it's still got some scope for use there. Do some fussy cutting and stuff and create a different scene. And then on the other side, because it's a speciality paper, we've got patterns with foiling. So really beautiful speckles, some wood grain. This sheet is foiled, but not as heavily, and is actually designed to be cut into quarters, so you can use that in that way, okay, to make 6 by 6 sheets. We've got this one that we can slice in half to make card fronts, and then there's a plain portion at the bottom that we can stamp sentiments onto, so that's a nice quick set of 6 cards, easily made there. And then we've got this beautiful design as well. So equally, we could cut this down, make some card fronts, use the plain part if you want to, cut it in different ways to create your winter cards for this year. And like I say, that I think is a good pack that you could use for your the male members of the family. Okay. So getting back to the sample, this is what we're going to do. Okay, I can't remember if I told you what colours I used on there. So the Sahara Sand Pool Party and stamped in grey granite, and we're going to recreate that. So this is the piece of paper that I haven't shown you in the pack, all the cute snowflakes. So we've got the basic grey background with the smoky slate snowflakes, and then some silver foil over the top, and on the back we've got this beautiful grey plaid. So we're going to use that as our background. So I've got a card base here. We're going to use the snowflake portion on this one. turn it inside out essentially. Just use the snowflakes. So we're just going to use some seal to add that on. I tried layering this up with some of the grey, but I felt like it made it quite a muted card, and the white just lifts it slightly and gives it a bit more brightness. Okay, so we're just going to put that on the back there. Okay, so that's our card base done, and then I've got one of my mini layers, you know. So this piece of paper will be 3 by 4 3/4, and this is 3 1/8 by 4 7/8 of an inch. Okay, but before we layer that together, we're going to do a bit of a cheat, right? So if you're I don't know, trying to save some of your resources, shall we say, and get the most out of your cardstock, what we're going to do is we're going to stamp our cloche and die cut it from this layer, and then cover it with the paper, and no one will ever know. And you won't have wasted another piece of cardstock doing your die cutting. So we're going to stamp that out. The palette I'm using is slightly different, so I've actually pulled out basic grey for this. I'll show you the rest of the colours as we go along. Stamp our cloche like that, and then we can die cut this from this panel. Okay, so in the trade, this is called gutting your cardstock, which is it's a bit of an unfortunate phrase, but we're essentially just trying to make the most out of this piece of paper. Okay, and then once we layer our designer paper on top, no one will ever know it was ever missing. Okay, so we'll just roll that through the cut and emboss machine. Okay, nice simple shape, so it cuts out really beautifully. Carefully tear away our low tack tape on there. So we've got our cloche design for the actual card, and then we're going to layer this over the top, and no one would ever know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus the tape towards the top there. There's a little bit here and there. Towards the bottom, a couple of strips there. A little bit on the sides. Just so that we're trying to catch as much of that cardstock as possible. Make it nice and secure. And then we've got a nice square at the end here that we can still use to line up our paper in the usual way. Drop it down. There you go. No one's any the wiser that there's a great gaping hole in the back of there. Okay, and that is ready to put onto our card base. Okay, now we can do that with the tape. We could do it with wet glue. Let's use some wet glue just so I can show you just a different way. I usually use Stampin' Seal, but I know that people prefer different ways of doing this. Personally, I prefer not to put wet glue directly onto designer series paper, in case the moisture makes it sort of ripple and warp. But on the back of cardstock, it's cool, and of course you've got that bit of wriggle room, especially as we're not using any dimension. We're not using any dimensionals yet. Yet, she says. Wouldn't be a Verity card without dimensionals on it. Okay. So there we go, card base done. Okay, so what we want to do now is build up our little scene for our cloche. So I've already got this stamped up, but we're going to do our stamping onto a separate piece of card because there is a die to cut that out. So this is just a scrap of paper, so long as this sort of solid image fits over your piece of card, you're going to be good to go. Now I've actually I've mounted all of these up because I have the luxury of having multiple blocks, but they fit really nicely onto D blocks. Okay, a really versatile size, so I would recommend getting D blocks for your collection if you are starting out. And I found that actually you could start in a number of ways to line up your image. It really is a case of just try it and see what you think. So you can work from the sort of house bricks to the sky to the outline, or vice versa. Okay, just try it and see which you think is easiest to line up. I think most people would go with stamping the outline first. Okay, so I'm doing that in basic grey. Okay, there we are, beautiful. The sort of sky portion, I'm sticking with Pool Party. I felt like that was the best colour. The balmy blue was a little bit too blue. I don't know. So this image is going to give us the sort of the sort of highlights on the snowy roofs and over the tree canopies and stuff. So what you want to do is just get your head over the top of your stamp. So I'm not making any contact, I'm just hovering over the image, and you'll see that there are pieces of photopolymer that aren't inked, which are the roofs of the little houses, and you'll be able to see, if you just take your time, hover over the top, you'll see where those little rooftops line up with that background image. Okay, and when you're happy, just slowly lower it down and press it in. Okay, if it's slightly off, it is not going to matter a whole heap. Okay, but that's how theoretically you do it. Okay, and you should end up with those little blue bits along the roof line, casting some shadows. Okay, so if anything, I'm a little bit low on there, but it's really not going to matter that much on the finished design. And then my little houses, I wanted to try a different colour. I actually brought out Petal Pink. Okay, rather than one of the browns. But this has sort of a peachy tone to it, you know, like sort of a plastery colour, I guess, you know, the old red bricks and stuff. So again, I'm hovering over there, trying to make sure all the spots where those are going to land, and you'll be able to see quite clearly through the stamp where the house outlines are. Hovering over it. When I'm happy, pressing it down, and there we have our little houses. Okay, isn't that adorable? Whilst it's still intact, I'm going to add some Wink of Stella over that, so that snow is glistening. Now I'm going to go down these little roof lines here. Just to highlight those, so they're glistening away. And actually, it's just occurred to me that I probably should go over the ground a little bit as well. Careful you don't pull out the ink from your outline image. Okay, so Wink of Stella is a brilliant product just for adding just a hint of subtle glitter, like glistening snow, to your projects. Okay, there is a die in the set that wraps around that image. Okay, just with a little bit of a border around the top. Okay, so you just line that up. Well, actually, we could not have a border. There we go. So line it up where you want. You can leave a border, you cannot leave a border, it's entirely up to you. Let's cut it there. Just going to tape that into place and put that through the machine. But I'm also going to cut one of the little snow banks, which I haven't got out. There's a little snow bank there as well, so I'm just going to pull a little teeny scrap of card out of my scrap bin there. To do that, I'll put that through the machine alongside that. Pardon the clunking and banging, it's just the pressure of the machine and it cutting into the die plates. That's perfectly normal if you're not used to that. That is not, it's not breaking or anything, it's fine. There's our little snowbank, which I'm going to use a little dab or two of wet glue just to apply to the bottom, just so that that's drying while we do some other things. It fits just nicely along here, along the bottom there. You could put a splash of ink on that just to emphasise it, or raise it up on dimensionals if you want to. So that's in place there. So of course that's going to be wet for a little minute or two, so just want to be careful. Whilst we'll do that though, let's grab another scrap piece of cardstock so that we can do our sentiment. That looks like it's good. Literally just pulled that out of the bag, the little scrap bin I've got for all my Whisper White pieces. Mounted my stamp already so that it's straight on the block. So I just line up my paper in front of me and stamp that down. It's probably a little wide, but we'll just go with it. Just use what you've got, get it as straight as you can. Wonderful. And we could just chop down those ends with one of our picker punches. Let's use Lovely Labels. Okay. Ooh, must be an inch high. I didn't even measure it, so I literally pulled it out of the scrap bucket. So I'm going to pop that in on the design I want. Push it all the way through to the back. Just make sure it's lined up where you want it to be at the back, and punch that. Then we'll turn it over, slide it in again under that and punch, and we'll get some very pretty decorative ends on the end of there. There's 3 different picker punches that you could use, so plenty of choice if that's not a design that you. Okay, many apologies, the camera hasn't recorded me constructing the final card there, but we got up to cutting the sentiment and we've done all the stamping, but basically all we've done is layered those pieces onto the card front with our dimensionals. Okay, so positioned the items and made sure I had enough space for both. The sentiment overhangs the border a little bit, which is really cute. And so just adding that dimension I think is really sweet. Okay, and then the finishing touches I've done with the subtle shimmer sequins. So this is a collection of little sequins. They don't have any adhesive on them. If I just try and capture a selection on there. So there are 2 sizes. Which I'm just trying to take a sample of there. I get 800 of these sequins in the packet. So we've got some really nice sort of shiny silver ones. This one's like a matte silver, almost like a smoky slate colour, and then these are almost like vellum. They're not see-through, but they've got that sort of opaque look to them, and this is the smaller size here. Okay, so 2 different sizes to add some interest to your cards. Okay, and I've just done that with some dabs of wet glue and applying them with my Takey Pick tool. Just pick them up and just press them onto your little spots of glue. And that's it, that's the card done. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that and it's given you an idea of how to use that stamp set. It is a stamp set that I wasn't super sure how to use in the first instance, but I'm really happy with these results and I hope you give it a try. All the stuff I've used today is going to be linked in the description bar. It'll take you straight to the online shop where you can put it into your basket. It'll be lovely to have you shop with me. While you're there, check out the other links available. Have a mooch around the store. Have a look at the celebration promotion too, which runs all the way up until the end of this month. And yeah, that's it from me today. Have a good day. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.